Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Education Platform. Now, before we begin with today's lesson, I'm going to be reading a verse which is taken from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8, and it states that, "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God." The word of the Lord. Our first lesson is learning about the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord is the cord that attaches to the baby during the stages of its transformation in a mother's womb. Our second lesson is about the Amazon River. The Amazon River is the river that flows in South America, which is almost close to the Brazilian River, or Brazil. The animals that live in the Amazon River are the Amazon River dolphin, an electric eel, piranhas, the catfish, manatees, and parrots. Now, our fourth lesson is about improper nouns. Improper nouns are words that describe a noun. The examples are United States. United States is the country. Miami is the city. Pablo is the name of the boy. Alana is the name of the girl. Jaguar is the name of the animal. Now, a few more examples in a sentence. My friend is in Orlando, the city in Florida. And city is the improper noun in the sentence. The farmer lives in Idaho, the state in Florida. And state is the improper noun used in the sentence. My brother ate an apple, which is a fruit. And fruit is the improper noun in the sentence. Next is the review of one of the types of transformations, which are rotation. Rotation is a transformation in which an object turns clockwise or counterclockwise. For example, the examples include the clock's hands are at a 90-degree clockwise. Second example, the record is turning at a 380-degree clockwise. Next are oil spills. Now, oil spills happen in the ocean where ships or other aquatic vehicles or other gas production leak oil, which is bad for the ecosystem. To clean oil, use materials such as towels or a cloth to tie to get all the oil in one place and get it to shore. So it doesn't disinfect all the animals that live in the ocean. Next is wood. What we know about wood, it's a material that construction workers, architects, and builders use to build or create, also known as woodwork. Wood is used to make tables, chairs, or desks. Next is the story, the case of the missing statue. It all started 2 years ago in a little city far away. There was a detective named David who could solve mysteries. who could solve mysteries by looking at the clues. During nightfall, the statue in the town square was gone, and it was all up to Detective David to find the missing statue. Firstly, he had to find clues to help figure out where could the statue have gone that night. Soon after he found some clues, such as the bits of iron coming from the pedestal where the statue was last seen, and the footprints that lead to the manhole where the thief may have taken the statue. After Detective David went into the manhole, he found more footprints leading upward right into the sewers. After a while, he's found the thief trying to melt the statue and use it for his own. But when Detective David pulled off the thief's mask, he saw that it was the butler who did it. But when he saw someone else getting away with the statue, he jumped on the other culprit to get the drop on him, and then pulled off his mask. It was also the supermarket manager. So Detective David turns both the butler and the supermarket manager into the authorities. Now, by reading this story, it helps to inform you and persuade you, which is the purpose of reading this story out to you. Our next lesson is about Spanish-speaking countries. Now, the Spanish-speaking countries are listed, which are Mexico, Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile, Spain, Peru, Ecuador. Now next is Mr. Greeny. Mr. Greeny is a method used in science to classify organisms. M means movement, R respiration, G growth, excretion, N nutrition, and I irrationality. Now, the method Mr. Greeny can help you to classify organisms based on the order. Now, last is a story. Thank you, ma'am. She was a large woman with a large purse that had everything in it but hammer and nails. It had a long strap, and she carried it slung across her shoulder. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and she was walking alone, when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. The strap broke with a single tug. The boy gave it from behind. But the boy's weight and the weight of the purse combined caused him to lose his balance. So, instead of taking off full blast as he had hoped, the boy fell on his back on the sidewalk, and his legs flew up. The large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in his blue jeans sitter. Then she reached down, picked up the boy by his shirt front, and shook him until his teeth rattled. After the woman said, "Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here," she still held him, but she bent down enough to permit and stood and pick up her purse. Then she said, "Now ain't you ashamed of yourself?" Firmly gripped by his shirt front, the boy said, "Yes, ma'am." The woman said, What did you want to do it for?" The boy said, "I didn't aim to." She said, "You a lie." By that time, 2 or 3 people passed, stopped, turned to look, and some stood watching. "If I turn you loose, you will run?" asked the woman. "Yes, ma'am," said the boy. "Then I would turn you loose," said the woman. She did not release him. "I'm very sorry, lady, I'm sorry," whispered the boy. And your face is dirty. I got a great mind to wash your face for you. Ain't you got nobody home to tell you to wash your face?" "No, ma'am," said the boy. Then it will get washed this evening," said the large woman, starting up the street. dragging the frightened boy behind her. He looked as if we were 14 or 15, frail and willow wild, in tennis shoes and blue jeans. The woman said, "You ought to be my son. I would teach you right from wrong. Least I can do right now is to wash your face. Are you hungry?" "No, ma'am," said the being dragged boy. I just want you to turn me loose." "Was I bothering you when I turned that corner?" asked the woman. "No, ma'am." "But you put yourself in contact with me," said the woman. "If you think that contact is going to last a while, you got another thought coming. When I get through with you, sir, you are going to remember Mrs. Lula Beatties Washington Jones." Sweat popped out on the boy's face, and he began to struggle. Mrs. Jones stopped, jerked him around in front of her, pulled a half Nelson about his neck, and continued to drag him up the street. When she got to her door, she dragged the boy inside, down a hall, and into a large kitchenette-furnished room. At the rear of the house, she switched on the light and left the door open. The boy could hear other roomers laughing and talking in the large house. Some of their doors were open too, so he knew and the woman were not alone. The woman still had him by the neck in the middle of her room. She said, "What is your name?" "Roger," answered the boy. "Then, Roger, you go to that sink and wash your face," said the woman, whereupon they turned him loose at last. Roger looked at the door, looked at the woman, looked at the door, and went to the sink. "Let the water run until it gets warm," she said. "Here's a clean towel." You gonna take me to jail?" asked the boy, bending over the sink. "Not with that face. I would not take you nowhere," said the woman. "Here I am trying to get home to cook me a bite to eat, and you snatch my pocketbook, maybe. You ain't been to supper either, late as it be, have you?" "There's nobody home at my house," said the boy. "Then we'll eat," said the woman. "I believe you're hungry, or been hungry, to try to snatch my pocketbook." "I want a pair of blue suede shoes," said the boy. "Well, you didn't have to snatch my pocketbook to get some suede shoes," says Mrs. Lula Beatties Washington Jones. "You could have asked me." "Ma'am." The water dripping from his face, the boy looked at her. There was a long pause, a very long pause. After he had dried his face, and not knowing what else to do to dry it again, the boy turned around, wondering what next. The door was open. He could make a dash for it down the hall. He could run. The woman was sitting on the daybed. After a while she said, "I were young once, and I wanted things I could not get." There was another long pause. The boy's mouth opened. Then he frowned. But not knowing he frowned, I was going to say, didn't you? You thought I was going to say I didn't snatch people's pocketbooks. Well, I was going to say that. Pause. Silence. I have done things too, which I would tell you, son. Neither tell God, if he didn't already know. So you sit down while I fix us something to eat. You might run that comb through your hair so you look presentable." In another corner of the room, behind a screen, was a gas plate and an icebox. Mrs. Jones got up and went behind the screen. The woman did not match the boy to see if he was going to run now. Nor did she say watch her purse, which she left behind her on the daybed. But the boy took care to sit on the far side of the room, where he thought she could easily see him out of the corner of her eye. If she didn't want to, she did not trust the woman, not trust him, and he did not want to be mistrusted now. "Do you need somebody to go to the store?" asked the boy. "Maybe to get some milk or something." "Don't believe I do," said the woman. Unless you just want sweet milk yourself, I was going to make cocoa out of this canned milk I got here." "That will be fine," said the boy. She heated some lima beans and ham she had in the icebox, made the cocoa, and set the table. The woman did not ask the boy anything about where he lived or his folks or anything else that would embarrass him. Instead, as they ate, she told him about her job in a hotel beauty shop that stayed open late, what the work was like, and how all kinds of women came in and out, blondes, redheads, and Spanish. She cut him a half of her 10-cent cake. "Ate some more, son," she said. When they were finished eating, she got up and said, "Now, here, take this $10 and buy yourself some blue suede shoes. And next time, do not make the mistake of latching onto my pocketbook, nor nobody else. Because shoes come by devilish like that will burn your feet. I got to rest. I got to get my rest now. But I wish you behave yourself, son. From here on in." She led him down the hall to the front door and opened it. "Good night. Behave yourself, boy," she said, looking out into the street. The boy wanted to say other than, "Thank you, ma'am," to Mrs. Lula Beatty's Washington Jones. But although his lips moved, he couldn't even say that as he turned at the foot of the barren stoop and looked up at the large woman in the door. He barely managed to say, "Thank you," before she shut the door, and he never saw her again. Now what this story is all about, it's persuading and informing you. This is the purpose of reading this story. It's to help young people know right from wrong in the future. Now my advice to you is that, now before we go, I just want to say that remember that God has given us the greatest gift, the Lord Jesus Christ. Now, I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy holidays.